All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Forge Your Life podcast with your host, Richard Fu. Today, right, I have a really amazing guest, guys. When I met this guy in Bali, I looked at him before on Facebook, like, man, there's something with this guy, right? Then when you get to meet him in person, he just rocks the house, man. He's just so much full of energy. And most of all, he's a really big, huge-hearted guy. He's done amazing stuff. He's got his podcast into the new and noteworthy, right? Chase Your Impossible. He is Anthony Kirby. He is the Kirby Meister, right? He just runs the world, and he's just huge, man. He's just been such a huge inspiration for me, for someone who's gone from a high-flying, and I mean high-flying corporate career, breaking through to actually becoming the entrepreneur and giving himself and his family that freedom and that space to really be who he's meant to be. And I'm just seeing this guy flourish, but no longer will I keep this guy in the darkness. Let him come out into the light. Mr. Anthony Kirby, thanks for joining, brother.
Boom. Thank you, Richard, mate. It is with absolute pleasure that I'm on this show, and I'm loving seeing what you are also doing in your business and the big moves that you're making. And I know there's big things to come for you as well, mate.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, man. It means a lot for hearing that from you, man. And so, Anthony, for the people who haven't heard about you, man, and what you do, share us with us a bit more about that, man.
Yep. Look, let me give you the very quick rundown of it. So as you mentioned, I was in corporate or professional life. I was earning what other people would consider like a lottery win. I was making $300,000 a year. And, from the outside looking in, I had it all. I had great finance. I had a beautiful house in the city. I had the flash cars. And what happened was my son, Charlie, was born in April 2015. And when he was born, I looked at him and I realized that there was way more to life. And the reason that I realized that was because my father died when I was 19. Mm-hmm. And he sadly, he was a cop. And he was a beautiful, loving man and did everything he possibly could. But he also worked really hard. And he did miss Christmases and he did miss birthdays. And not because he wanted to, but because he had to. That was the job he was in, And when Charlie was born, I went on this crazy journey of self-discovery, and it led me to moving away or walking away from the income. It led me from that job to my own business. And at the time, I didn't have any plan. All I knew was that I wanted to impact more people around the world with the skills and the mindset and the philosophies towards what I do in business on a bigger scale outside of that business, in such a way that would also allow me some freedom so that I didn't have to miss birthdays and Christmases and all that sort of stuff. And frankly, it's been a bloody hard journey. And if anyone's listening to this or watching this, you'll also know it. No one tells you the tough shit, right? Mm-hmm. You see all the pictures on Instagram of, kittens in Ferraris with money on the seat. And the reality is so far different to that. I've gone from having a really good lifestyle to being really careful with my lifestyle because I have to be, because it takes time, right? There's no such thing as overnight success. And I'm learning that more and more and more. But also what I'm also learning is that you need to stay completely true to who you are and your genius, and don't try and be something else just to try and fit into a market that you feel exists. Make your own fucking market.
I love it, man.
Because I've done the thing of walking down the wrong path. I did it for 6 months when I left my corporate role. And it's only been in the last 3 or 4 months that I've gone, hang on a second. My strength, my genius is business. My strength is business growth. My strength is sales. My strength is forging. There's a good word for you for this podcast.
Yeah.
Is forging great relationships between businesses and clients. And once I walked back into my light, business has gone mental. And now we're traveling Australia. We're going to do events in New Zealand and Singapore and Japan.
Nice.
And, we've worked with some great clients. So we've worked with Microsoft and some Queensland businesses that are doing amazing things. And all the businesses that I'm working with are having fun. And, here's something for you guys listening is, if you talk about business fundamentals, the first 3 letters of fundamentals is fun. So I want to ask you this question. When was the last time you had fun? Because you get so bogged down in the minute detail of your Facebook page and your videos and, editing a podcast or whatever it might be. And the reality is that you didn't start it to do that. You started it for a reason. You started it to be on purpose. So connect back to that and enjoy it again and have some bloody fun.
Oh, huge, man. I love it, man. The fun in the fundamentals.
Fun and fundamentals.
Yeah, man. We get so caught up in the day to day, right? That is like, why do
Yeah.
we actually get into this? And
Yeah.
why do we get there? And I want to ask you this question, man. I mean, like, Anthony, man, like when you actually started, right? And you were saying you're doing something for 6 months and you realize it's not really what it is that you're meant to be doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk us through that. Talk us through that pivot point. And, how did you assess that? And, on top of that, how did your wife and your family take that, man? Because I'm sure they'd be like, oh, but
Yeah.
all that's going to go down the drain. Are you sure? Talk about
Big time. Again, coming from a place of authenticity and truth, the pivot point for me was when my wife walked out.
Wow.
She actually walked out a couple of months ago because I was, sitting on the computer day in, day out until 2 or 3 in the morning, trying to compete in a market that was not my space. And because it wasn't my space, people smell that on you. Right? And frankly, I was competing in a space that was below, and I say this with massive respect to people in the space that I was operating in, but it was below where I'm at in life. Right? And I didn't have enough faith in myself to walk into my own path and say, you know what, I dominate this space and I own this place and I deserve what I get. I deserve the income that I receive because I add massive value in that space. And so, I spent months and months and months making excuses about why things weren't happening. And my wife saw the bank balance drop down and down and down. We sold our family home so that I could pursue this path, which was a huge deal for her. She needs a lot of certainty. We got children, of course. And so our bank balance went down and down and down. Our bank balance got to $800. Now, our expenses are somewhere around, $7,000, $8,000 a month.
Yeah.
So when we got $800 left, the equation doesn't add up for very much longer. And so it ended with me basically being on the floor in my study, which is where I'm sitting right now, being on the floor crying, in the fetal position, just like saying, what the hell's happened? This is not what it was meant to be. This is not the path that I saw in my mind when I handed in my resignation. And it was only from doing that, with the help of a good friend of both of ours, Andy Gordon.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked him out, go check him out. He's got some great stuff about mindset and relationships that he's doing, and great bloke to get onto. Andy Gordon came over to my house and, we sat down and I said, why am I doing this? And I got back to my purpose. I got back to my why. And the why for me, this is the pivot point. The why for me is thinking about the fact that I sat there with my father when he died and I watched him take his last breath and I heard the last words to come out of his mouth were, I'm sorry. Right? And I think about my son and I think about what it means for him, for me to be here for him. And I want other people, other professionals, other business owners to know that you can set up your business to match your life, not your life to match your business. That is how it should be. We got it all wrong. So many people are fitting their life into a business. Do it the other way around. Start looking at it the other way around and saying, what do I want from my life? Do you want time with your family? And that's not to say you're not going to have to work hard. It's still bloody hard, right? Let's get that on the table straight up. I'm not saying you're going to go out there and just rainbows and glitter. What I'm saying is go work hard when you're working. Don't fuck around on Facebook. Don't dick around on your phone. Get into it, get the job done, and then switch off and be the family person or be with your spouse or be with your friends or your family. Go tell your parents you love them, for fuck's sake. All right? And I know, I get very passionate. I know I swear, and I'm sorry if it's offending anyone, but the reality of it is that we're living our life the wrong way. And I'm scared that so many people are going to get to the end and they're going to say, what did I do? What difference have I made in the world? And they're going to look at their son or daughter. And that would be the worst thing ever for me, to get to the end of my life and look at my son and look at my stepdaughter and look at my wife and say, I didn't quite do what I wanted to do. And on top of that, I didn't give you what I needed to give you. You're living life in the middle.
Yeah.
All right? You're living in the lukewarm water.
You're living in the no man's land, right? The dead zone.
Dead right. And that's what's led me to here, essentially.
Dude, man, that's powerful stuff, man. I didn't know you went through that, man. So thank you so much for sharing, man. And
you're welcome.
True. This is the truth here, guys. This is why I wanted to get you on, man, because we talk nothing but truth when we chat, man. And so then you went through that period and you realized this is why I'm doing what I do. This is why I left that $300,000 paying job, right? And what triggered in your head that's like, you know what, I should just go do that business stuff, right? What triggered that in after you realize this is why I'm doing what I'm doing?
What really got me was the fact that every time I would speak to a business, I got so passionate about it. And I realized that me walking away from professional or corporate environments was not a condition of me not liking the environment. It was a condition of me not feeling valued in the environment that I was in. And that's a big thing, right? You got to make sure your environment's right. Because we've all had the case where, and this applies not only to business, but to your friends. They're not a friend if they don't support your environment. They're just an acquaintance. And sometimes you can do without those acquaintances. And so once I realized that, and I got over my own ego, because my ego got in the way of saying, well, why didn't they see my value as much as I wanted them to? Why didn't they take on all the ideas that I had? That was all ego talking. Once I stripped all of that away, and I said, well, what value do I bring? That wasn't their fault that I wasn't happy there. That was my fault that I wasn't happy there, because I expected too much of them and the expectations were false. And so I pissed myself off, basically. And you know what? The reality is, Richard, that if I had understood this 9 months ago, 10 months ago, the reality is I might still be in that business because I would understand the balance that needs to take place or the flow. I don't like the word balance. I prefer the word flow. In saying that, though, the fact that that has happened, there's no accidents, right? I'm here for a reason. And I've just got to use this experience now. I've got to use all the learnings that I've taken, all of the money that I've spent. I've spent like over $100,000 on this exercise so far. So it hasn't been cheap. All of the fights that I've had with my wife and the disagreements about where we're going and how we're doing it, and seeing her cry, it kills me. Seeing my children look at me and wondering whether I'm going to be able to feed them in 6 months' time because the business is not going the way I want it to go. It's bloody hard. But that's what keeps me going. And that's what drives me to say, you know what? I've got to go and get this message out there. And I've got to show business owners how to do it, how to grow a business, still grow the business. Don't worry about not growing. You can still grow, but don't look for dynamite growth in one day.
Oh, man. Because overnight shit, right?
It shits me because, even, with respect to the heavyweights of the industry, the 10X rule, right? Like, I love what Grant does, but 10X your sales, you've got to deliver that as well. You can't do half the job. You got to be able to deliver that to your client, because if you don't, you're going to not create a raving fan. And what's going to happen is that you then got to go out again and find a new market or find more people in that market, which is already saturated. So why are you making the job harder for yourself? Why don't you just look to get, I call it the 1% rule in my system. It's the 1% rule. Look for 1% every day if you want good, fast growth, or if you want consistent growth, 1% per day. Or if you just want to take it a bit more steady and have great flow in your life, look for 1% a week. That's still 50% a year, 52% a year. Right? So you choose the method that the foundations don't change. There's still 4 things that make it happen. You got to look at your sales. You got to look at leadership or authority. You got to look at how your operations come together, and you got to look at the workflow that ties it all together, which completes the loop. And that's what I call slow to grow, the slow method. That's what I use. That's what I've used in businesses. It works, and it gives people their life back. And that is massive. You only get one chance, right? It's not a dress rehearsal. So who says you can't have fun?
Yeah, exactly, man. I love that message, man. And it's so important that we highlight this. And this is something like you brought up, and I want to iterate this in another form, right? Is that from what I've heard, right? I mean, I experience it every day too, but business is like, it's like going into the gladiator arena, right? And just like the movie The Gladiator, we go in, right? It doesn't matter how many years you've been in it. It's still like at every turn, you could die, right? Your business could die like immediately, right? Like look at Kodak, look at, I don't know, all the PC makers very soon. They're probably going to die off soon too, right? And, it's always a battle to just to be on top and survive. And that's why it's so important that, we have applied this, the slow to grow is to, no longer is it just 10x this and 100x, and then you go further, right? But it's just, let's just compound this stuff, guys. Let's just do it a little bit each week, a little bit each day, 15 minutes a day, even if you're starting out and you haven't got a business, right? Just to grow it that way, right, brother?
And have fun with it, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with growing. Like even if you did 1% per day, that's still 365% per year. That's a fast business, right? But you can still have fun with that because you're not pushing too hard. And again, I'm actually writing a book at the moment, Slow to Grow, right? It's going to be a book. It's going to come out probably at the end of the year.
Awesome.
If you think about the 4 legs of a table, SLOW, they're the 4 legs. Your table's flat like this.
Yeah.
If you lift one leg, so you lift sales up, what happens to the table? It gets wonky, right? Nothing stays on the surface. So you're trying to sit here and be balanced and enjoy life and enjoy the ride. And you're trying to hang on for dear life because you're trying to fix something else over here. All right? You can't have one without the other. It's got to be measured. It's got to be a measured approach to business.
Nice, man. I love that analogy. Yeah.
And that's how I work. And when I go into businesses, the first 3 weeks that I go into business, I don't charge $1 because I do like the minimum program that I do is an 8-week program. If a business calls me and say we want to work together, I'll go and work with that business every week for 3 weeks. If they don't see any value in me after 3 weeks, we shake hands. I learn from it. They learn from it. I walk away. If they do see value, then they can pay half the bill and we carry on. The reality of it is, mate, that if I'm not giving value, there's a lesson there for me to learn and grow and give more value. If I'm not changing their business, I don't want to work with them, and nor should they work with me because that's what I'm there for. I'm there to empower them to get more and do more and be more. And if I'm not delivering, I don't deserve to get paid. And more people should take that stance because everyone's looking for this without giving the value. Everyone wants to take. You look on Facebook, you look on any social media platform right now, everyone's advertising, give me your money, give me your money, give me something. Just go bloody give something back. Right? There's so much information your clients, your customers, your market needs in order to educate themselves. Go educate them. If you feel you're the authority in your market, be the authority, step into your space and own it. Don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of getting in front of the camera. You got an iPhone, you can do whatever you want nowadays. Right? Stop being so bloody scared. The only way you can share your message is by sharing your message.
Yeah.
And don't worry about what people think of you.
There we go, man. I was going to say that.
Some people are going to hate you. Let's just get that over the way, right?
Yeah,
Some people don't like me. I talk quick. I swear a little bit. Some people don't like that. And that's cool, but that's who I am. But some businesses love it because they're like me. Yeah. And they've got passion and they've got energy and they've got fire in their belly for success and true success, like having that real example of life to live by. And you got to be that person for your market. Don't worry about what you're not sharing. If you're not sharing it, they're not growing. And if people aren't growing, you're not sharing your gift with the world, that is sad.
It's more than sad, man. Sad is like the biggest understatement of the century, right? Yeah. It's a tragedy, right? It's a tragedy.
That's exactly right.
And you don't bring it out. And
exactly.
So I'm glad that you were almost a tragic case, sir.
I very nearly was. I mean, look, I very nearly, on many occasions, very nearly just folded this business in and said, "Bugger it, I'll go back to work." But I know, and every time I've stepped into that space of thinking about that, there's like this big drag that pulls me back because I know that my message is big.
Yeah.
But I know that I have to be brave enough to share it.
Yeah. And the question is whether you are brave enough, right? And whether you are.
Well, you have to be. Yeah. Oh, exactly. I'm not going to lie on my deathbed and take my last breath wondering. I'm going to lie on my deathbed and take my last breath saying, you know what? I gave life everything I had. And I'm proud of it. Even if I get feedback that tells me I'm off the path, I still give it a go.
Yeah. And you did, man. That's why I'm proud of you, man. And you're a true testament, man, for all the guys, all the women listening and watching here, is that this stuff's not easy. And this is, I truly respect you for just opening up and just sharing this, man. And so,
yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. But you know what it is? It's growth. Yeah. Growth shouldn't be easy. I say it all the time is you should be comfortable with the concept of growth. You should be uncomfortable with the growth.
Wow, man. And there's one question that pops into my head, man. I want to run this through with you. So we talk about, 1% each day. And let's be honest here, Anthony, man. I mean, like, for sure, you and I both know that it's actually not 1% every day, is it, man? It's some days it's going to be -1, right? Some days you go backwards, and then other days it's like 5%, right? And so on those days where it's like -5%, right? Where you feel like you're going backwards. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've had days like that, man. What do you do?
Yeah.
How do you get yourself to just get up the next day and go, you know what? Yesterday was shit. I'm totally screwed it up, or it was rough, but
Yeah.
today's another day. What do you tell yourself, man?
Yep. The first thing, expect imperfection and be comfortable with it. Don't try and be perfect. You're not perfect. No one's perfect. We're all learning together. We're all on this journey together, and no one gets out alive. That's the first thing. Second thing that I would say is break your goal down as small as you possibly can. If you wake up in the morning, you know you got to generate $1,000 revenue or $500 revenue or $10,000 revenue. Break it down into tasks. So say, well, look at your numbers. You got to know your numbers in business. If you need to make 30 phone calls to get one appointment, now notice the difference there. I didn't say one sale, because that's you're looking for sales instead of adding value. Have a coffee with someone, add some value, and then the sale will happen. The transaction will come together if it's meant to, if you're a fit. Don't force things that aren't there. And accept that you're not always going to be on the up. Aim for the 1%. Aim for it, and sometimes you're not going to get it, and that's cool. But tomorrow, aim for 1% again. Don't try and go, I need 5% now. Just keep aiming for 1%. Keep yourself steady. Keep yourself consistent. That's what it's all about. Because you won't burn out then. It's sustainability, right? You got to be able to sustain yourself and your business. If you can't do it, most of us in this world, we've got small teams. You know, I've got two people on my team now. We're a small team. If I'm not pushing in the right way, I'm going to push too hard. I'm going to burn out, or I'm going to drop dead. One of the two. And so you got to recognize that. Just take what comes, but push against the resistance, and ask yourself the question of why the hell am I feeling this resistance? And then go with that. Go with your answer, and move towards that instead. And you'll get there. Yeah. Again, it's not going to be easy, but if you're having a shit day, acknowledge that you're having a shit day.
Yeah.
Equally as well, Richard, if you're having a really terrible day, again, just say, you know what? I'm having a really terrible day, and do yourself a favor and accept that not all days are brilliant, and go do something that you love outside of business. So many people, including myself, we try and push through, and it's not productive. And you end up worse. You end up, I'm rubbish. I'm not good enough. I don't have the belief. You know, you lose all of your self-belief.
Yeah.
And you go out there and communicate to the market in a way that is not true, because you're trying to push something. You're trying to force it.
Yeah.
Don't force it. Put your joggers on, go for a run, go for a walk, go kick a balloon around with your kid. That's what I do with Charlie. We blow up a balloon and play football, soccer. Go have a coffee with your wife. Go hit a bucket of golf balls at a driving range. Yeah, whatever it might be for you. That's how I would get around it.
Oh, dude, man, that's so powerful, and especially in this culture where there's a huge shift now of like, hustle, come on, I'm hustling, guys. And it's like, dudes, don't bullshit me. I know you ain't hustling that much, right? And you're over there having a holiday. And there's one other thing you pulled out, man, that I really, really want to pull out here that I hope people get it is, you're saying there's the idea that you just really, if you get that -5%, right, that day, you have a really horrible day and you minus something, right? You just feel like you haven't moved anywhere. But then the next day, we have this tendency to I got to catch up now that I'm behind, right? That's why you said, don't aim for the 5%, just aim for the 1% again and again and again and again. And so, it's not like, oh, I got -2% today, so I got to go for 3% tomorrow so that I'm back at even. Everything's happening on the right path.
Exactly right.
That's hugely important, because I know I've been there. It's like, oh, I missed out on this. I got to catch up, right? We all got to catch up on email, on Facebook, on all this stuff, and you just never end up catching up. And if you just set that point of, this is where I need to be at,
just chill out, let it be. Actually, funnily enough, like my podcast, which I know you mentioned earlier, and I'm not going to plug it at all, but I would just say, I didn't release a podcast for 4 weeks. And the reason I didn't was because it wasn't right. I didn't want to force the questions out and be like, oh, answer this and give that and say this and say that. I wasn't feeling comfortable with it. It wasn't on path. And so I left it. And then today I picked up the microphone and I recorded a podcast and I released it straight away. And I've already had a message from a guy in Hong Kong who said, mate, love it. Love your new direction. Love your honesty. Love your vulnerability.
Oh,
right? We're moving past an era of bullshit, right? In business especially. The market is so transparent now with Facebook and social media and Snapchat that you cannot hide anymore. And if you can't be you, just go to work and
Yeah.
do that instead, right? Don't try and just, you see so many people after like a Tony Robbins event, they're like, I'm going to be a coach.
Yes.
You see it every time. There's like 1,000 new coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to question, what is the intention behind that?
Mm.
Sure, the 10% might have absolutely the right intention. They'll show up in the world in a great way. But coaching now is like personal trainers were 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone was a personal trainer. Everyone knew the best protein shake. Here in Australia anyway. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but you know what I mean, Richard.
Mm.
So do things for the right purpose and just be you,
Love it, man. This has been an amazing chat, bro. And because he's not going to plug it, someone has to plug it, right? Make sure you subscribe to Chase You're Impossible by Anthony Kirby. It is a phenomenal podcast.
It might have changed to Slow to Grow.
Oh, awesome, man. Awesome, man.
Slow to Grow. So if it's not under Chase You're Impossible by the time you listen to this or watch this, just search for Slow to Grow. I'm sure Richard will chuck it in the show notes for you anyway.
Of course. Did you see that, guys? He said, I'm not going to plug it, but he plugs it anyway. Anthony. No, it's all cool, brother. I'm just teasing you.
You lead a horse to water, someone's going to drink.
Yes, exactly. And so, man, we're going to wrap up the show here. And so we're going to go into the quick fire questions here, brother.
Yes.
Right. So first one, our signature question, Mr. Kirby, is if you could travel back to any time, right, in your past, last 10, 15, whatever years, whatever you want, what time would that be? And what's the one piece of advice you'd give to, little Anthony back then?
I would go back to my 19-year-old self and I would sit down and have a better conversation with my father before he passed away. And I would really let him understand that I totally adore and love him and respect him for everything he's ever done for the family, and that it's okay for him to go where he needs to go on his journey. And if I could go back again, I would go back to school when I was really small, and I used to get picked on and bullied at school because my father was a police officer and because I had red hair and I was skinny and I was small, and I was like the stereotypical, not even a nerdy kid, but just that quiet kid. And I would go back and I would just hand every one of those people a note. And on that note, I would write, "Watch me, motherfucker."
Oh, man. Love it, man. And so the next question I have for you, Anthony, man, is, you've read a lot of books, man, right?
Yeah.
And if there's one book that's an absolute must read for people watching, people listening, what book would that be, man?
It would have to be Never Leaves My Desk.
Oh, yeah.
Colin Hill. Look how it's tatty and it's old. It's not a book that everyone gets first time around, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just bear with it. Just chew on it a little bit. Do a page at a time. I love the message that it gives about belief and desire. Yeah. It's so important that you desire what you want and you believe you can have it. And if you're going to set a goal, here's my biggest advice, and it's part of my slow system. If you're going to set a goal that you absolutely crave at 10 out of 10, but you don't believe it 10 out of 10, scale the goal back a bit till you do believe it 10 out of 10, set it over 7 days, smash it, build your belief, go again.
Oh, that's awesome advice, man. I love that one. Definitely going to have to apply in my own life. And so the next question, man. So Anthony, man, when we were at Bali, man, we hung out with some amazing dudes, right? So
we did.
And we're living in a modern world, man. Right, the modern world where I personally feel that men aren't stepping up as much as what women have been doing for the past 30 years. And so what do you think the world needs from men, modern men, that they need to start doing to step up to become the modern leaders and the modern men that the world needs them to be? What's the one thing they need to be doing?
Yeah, well, that I think success has changed, and it's not about the cars and the money and all that stuff. It's about the balance and the flow. And what I would say is, as a man myself, as a father, as a husband, as someone who loves what I do in this world, be okay with emotion. Be okay with not being perfect. Be okay with feedback from life. Don't take it personally. Everyone's doing the best they can. You're doing the best you can. Keep doing the best you can, and just be you.
Amazing, man. Love that. And as we're wrapping up to the last two questions here, mate, the question I have here, the second last one I have here is one that, and I know we touched a little bit about that, right? And so, now what is true wealth for you, man? How would you describe what is true wealth for yourself and for your clients, man?
True wealth, I would change it to true success, because wealth, for most people, they associate wealth with money.
Correct.
I'd say that true success is being able to achieve everything you could dream of possible in your professional life, whether that's in a business or in your own business. And being able to go home at a reasonable hour, switching your telephone off or your other devices without any worry about what's going on, about any worry about which email might be sitting there waiting for you, and literally staring at your wife or your partner or your kids, like being able to watch your son sleep. Like there's nothing better than that. Like, just realize that you are here on this earth, and I don't want this to go all deep and weird and, lovey-dovey stuff, because that's not what I'm about at all, as you can probably tell. But leaving your legacy of love and connection and success without necessarily making it about the money. It's great to have money, granted. I love it, right? My goal is $1 million in the next 12 months. I'm not scared of money. But don't make it about the money. Make it about the journey of what money gives you. That is true success.
Beautiful, man. I love that. I love that, man. And I love how we turn the wealth into actually what it really is. It's a measure of success, and that's all it. And so, last one here. If you had 30 seconds left to live, Kirby, man, I mean, and you're surrounded by your family, your kids, Charlie, friends, us, all the clients that you've served, all the people you've impacted. What would you say? What would you leave them with, man?
That's a great question. I would say to anyone that I've ever come into contact with, that's rubbish language. I gave you my all, and in return, I ask that you go and give your all, so that other people know that it's okay to give their all.
Awesome, man. Love it, man. Amazing, man. Amazing to have you on, brother. I'm definitely going to have to get you back on again, man. And so, brother, for all the people who are watching, and who want to learn more about what you do, and, even just to get in touch with you, where's the best place to go?
Like Facebook, I'm always active on there. So facebook.com/Anthony Kirby Coaching is my business page, but don't mess about on that. That's rubbish. Connect with me personally. I prefer that. So it's just /Anthony Kirby Consulting, because I'd already taken Anthony Kirby Coaching. So, but you'll find me on there. I'm sure Richard will hook you up in the show notes. Or you can jump on my website, which is anthonykirby.com, and that's got all my social media links. Again, say hello to me. I love having conversations with people. I love helping. So if you've got a question about business, if you're not sure what to do next, hit me up. I'm not going to charge you for it. I'll give you some free advice. It doesn't cost anything to be nice to people. Yeah,
guys. Amazing, Kirby, man. Thank you again, man, for having the time and just giving us that time here. So thank you
so much, Richard, mate. I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. And so, guys, this wraps up another episode of the Forge Your Life podcast today with Mr. Anthony Kirby, right? The Kirby master, right? And if you learned a lot out of this, if you got a lot out of this episode, then make sure you do one thing, right? Because Anthony wants this. Make sure you head on to iTunes and you rate the show and you share this out to other people, because Anthony doesn't want to keep this a secret. God damn it, I don't want to keep this a secret, right? Every person that we've interviewed on this show does not want to keep anyone else's message a secret, because it's powerful stuff. So make sure you share it. Then head on over to richardfood.com to get the show notes. And finally, remember to go out there, go live with love, and go smash it. I'll see you again on the next one.